This podcast is brought to you by ArtSpire, presented by the Pump House Regional Arts Center to attract, engage, and connect artists and the community through an art fair and sale on Saturday, June 12th. Information is at artspire.thepumphouse.org. Musician Adam Greuel plays in a variety of bands, from Horseshoes and Hand Grenades to Rucksack Revolution, but we have him here to talk about one of his newest projects, the High Hawks. We talk about influences, ties to the Driftless region, and more. You can find more conversations, food reviews, live music, and events on our website, lacrosselocal.com. I'm Amy.
And I'm Brent.
And this is Lacrosse Local.
Wisconsin. I play now with Horseshoes and Hand Grenades, the High Hawks, and got a project called Barons and Greuel with the comedian Charlie Barons, and another project called Rucksack Revolution with my friend Sarah Voss from Dead Horses. And, I got into music at a young age. I was really kind of, stoked and just pumped up from watching some of these bands at our local county fair. May have been the Wood County Fair, and I remember seeing Nitty Gritty Dirt Band as a young guy and thinking, man, this is just so cool, the interaction between the crowd and the artist, and kind of fell in love and hit me right in the heart. Here we are, however many years later, like 25 years later, and it's my career.
I saw Nitty Gritty Dirt Band at Trempealeau Hotel about 10 years ago. It was probably one of the best shows I've ever seen.
Yeah, that's awesome. I got a show coming up at the Trempealeau Hotel. It's the coolest thing. Like maybe 3 years ago, I was down in Nashville and hanging out with a friend, Vince Herman from Leftover Salmon. And, I was telling him a story about Nitty Gritty Dirt Band and falling in love with music. And he's like, well, I'll pick you up at breakfast time tomorrow. And he picked me up, and we drove and we had lunch with Jeff Hanna, the guitar and singer-songwriter, frontman for Nitty Gritty Dirt Band. It was just so cool to, be eating fried chicken with two of my heroes, Vince and Jeff from Nitty Gritty Dirt Band.
That's wild. You talked about Trempealeau. What are your ties to the Driftless? You seem to enjoy the area. I see you doing a lot of fishing. What's your ties to this area?
Well, my tie is just loving the environment down there. It's just such a unique place from a landscape perspective, and I really love fly fishing for trout. And there's so many miles and miles of great trout fishing. In fact, as we talk right now, I was busy for 7 days straight doing work things, and now I got an off day. I'm going down to the Driftless to do some fly fishing.
So you run around with a number of bands, or at least you did before the pandemic, Horseshoes and Hand Grenades, Rucksack Revolution. But we want to talk to you about the High Hawks. So how did the High Hawks come about?
Well, the High Hawks essentially spurred from the idea, we were all being really good friends and wanting to spend more time together. All the guys in the band, we've all gotten along and maybe played in various projects, but really there's always been a sense of fellowship. Vince and I became really good friends almost immediately upon meeting one another. And, with both him and Tim Carbone and Chad Staley, I'm quite a bit younger. So I've been watching those guys perform for like 15 years or so. I'm 30 right now, about to turn 31. I started watching when I was about 15. So there's that kind of tie. But, Chad Staley, who lives in La Crosse, Wisconsin now, him and I kind of had this idea, why don't we get this group of guys together and see what kind of music naturally comes from it. We weren't quite sure exactly what that would sound like. But, a lot of times when there's good camaraderie and good fellowship with a group of guys, the music that comes out of it can be pretty strong too. It's just, the way energies dance as people, energies dance that way musically too. And what came out of it is this kind of cool, sort of rugged Americana kind of rock and roll band. It's just really a pleasure to get to both be hanging out with everybody in the band, but also now realize like we've made this music that's really cool and went in and cut a record. And so, it all kind of serendipitously came together, but really based on the fact that we all enjoyed each other's company and wanted to find ways to spend more time together.
Speaking of this area, Wednesday, June 2nd, doing an outside show, the High Hawks with the Smoking Bandits at Pearl Street Brewery. What can people expect from that show? You said rock and roll. Like, what's the show going to be about?
Well, it's going to be a damn good time. You mix the Bandits, the High Hawks, and the Pearl Street Brewery. That's going to be a hoot no matter how you slice it. But, the music is like almost like an alt country, Americana rock and roll sort of thing. Think of like the band, the kind of thing where there's several different songwriters and several different singers, so you kind of get this eclectic show from the High Hawks. And frankly, Vince Herman is one of the best entertainers music has ever seen. He's just really, really interesting to watch. Anytime you can see Vince Herman, and then you got Tim Carbone, who is one of the best fiddle players to ever tour around this country. Like, these aren't exaggerations. These guys have been in the music scene for so long and just have chops for days. So, it should be a really cool show. I always loved Pearl Street. And then you throw the Smoking Bandits in there too, man. It's been a while since they've been playing in Scotty, so that'll be a treat. Man, the first time I ever stepped on stage was with the Smoking Bandits.
Oh, wow.
On Earth Day when I was 13 years old. I remember getting up there and singing Big River and a couple other tunes with Chubba Staley. And then, me and Pat Ferguson are very close friends to this day as he's kind of embarked on a solo career. I actually produced his first album, too. A lot of cool ties going on, and that's going to be a really special night, in part because the kind of the camaraderie between Pearl Street Brewery and Horseshoes, and the High Hawks and Smoking Bandits. It's a bunch of us kind of coming together. It's going to be a really, really special time.
Separate from that, maybe any one of your projects, what are you excited for in 2021? I mean, to get back on the road pretty much, or what are you looking forward to?
This time period, the great pause, if you will. It was really an interesting time for me. I had been all of my 20s, 10 years, I was on the road extremely hard. And personally, I had slowly gotten a little worn out and maybe wasn't taking enough time to go cast a fly or spend some time with some family. So for me, it's really been a reminder of balance. I want to play enough shows where I can, make ends meet and feel like I'm getting out there and doing the thing I love and furthering my career. But I also want to make sure that I'm taking time to fill that kind of spiritual well. And, talking with folks about this time period, I've kind of heard that theme, like, it's been nice to be at home and hang out with the family. And so balance, really, make no bones about it. Like, to me, live music has been a big thing to fill up my spiritual tank since the whole ride began, when I was 19 years old. And so I've been missing that. But another thing that I've been focused on is doing different projects and kind of keeping everything fresh, So that's why there's like the High Hawks. There's this project, Tuttle, Pool, and Greuel, with Kyle Tuttle on banjo and Jared Poole on mandolin, and this stuff with the comedian Charlie Behrens, who's one of my really good friends, I was just in Nashville playing with him, and the stuff with Sarah Voss from Dead Horses called Rucksack Revolution, you know, and then Horseshoes is really excited to be out, you know, playing again this summer too. We're kind of focusing on, you know, more concise dates, like doing like 15 shows, I think, this summer, and that's going to be just a blast to get back with my, you know, brothers in music.
You're involved in so many different groups. Where's the best people to find out more? For the show, they should probably just find the High Hawks on Facebook.
Yeah, for sure. The High Hawks on Facebook. Facebook has kind of become like the information hub, you know, so it's weird. Like, I don't even personally have like an Adam Greuel website right now because I just don't know if people really go to them as much, you know. It feels like Facebook is the thing, but you know, Facebook and Instagram on there for sure. And, you know, if you just Google any of these projects, you know, you'll see the dates come up on there too. But yeah, the High Hawks have a Facebook page. That's kind of how we get our information out there.
Awesome. Well, I can't wait to see you guys play June 2nd at Pearl Street Brewery with the High Hawks and Smoking Bandits.
Man, it's going to be a hoot. It's going to be a real good job.
Lacrosse Local Podcast is a production of River Travel Media. Do you have an interview idea you'd like to share with us? Message us on Facebook at Lacrosse Local. Find out more about us at lacrosselocal.com, and you can subscribe to the Lacrosse Local Podcast on your favorite podcast app. If you like us, rate us 5 stars. We appreciate it.